This is Wilson Morales, and it's my pleasure to introduce and speak to three-time Tony nominated actress Cara Young for her role in Purlie Victorious. And I'm going to cheat because it's Purlie Victorious, a non-Confederate romp through the cotton patch. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Good. Congratulations on your nomination for this role this year. How does it feel to be nominated 3 years in a row, which I believe is a record for a Black actress, and I don't know if it's the record for an actress, period.
I'm not actually
I
entirely
definitely know
sure
it's the
of
record for a Black actress, so let's, because
black.
even
Yeah,
more has done
black
that,
performer. Yeah, black performer.
you
Period.
know.
Very cool. It's a very cool moment, and I think it's a cool moment specifically because it just feels like the acknowledgement is not just for me. It feels like very kismet that it's for Ozzy and Ruby. It's acknowledging them, acknowledging their work, acknowledging Ozzy's pen, acknowledging the masterpiece that is Purlie Victorious.
When you took on, let's go back a bit, you're coming off a nomination. How much in advance do you know what your next work is going to be?
I usually, for the last 7 years, I would say, even in the pandemic, I usually knew what was coming up next. So I usually have like things kind of lined up a little bit, whatever whatever is whatever happens next, it's like but my brain is always in the project that I'm doing.
For someone like yourself who's been nominated, obviously you're getting a lot of attention. How does the role come about for you? Is it your team telling you? Is it you looking at it? Is it, who's in it, the time frame of when you can do it?
Mm. Um, I think, yeah, there are a lot of factors that are in play. You know, Fortunately, a lot of the roles that have been a part of my um, theater career, either I've workshopped or I've been in process of building, like all the Natalie Portmans and New Englanders, and I mean, we're talking pre-pandemic and off Broadway, but I was workshopping all the Natalie Portmans for like almost 3.5 years. For the New Englanders, 4 years. Sinking Ink, we just had a short run at the Apollo. We did two productions of that in 2017. So I've been a part of a lot of projects for a long time. I was fortunate enough to be in Clyde's and Cost of Living and Purlie Victorious. But I sort of feel like those projects sort of, and not to be corny, but like chose me, question mark, like it was sort of other forces kind of coming together so that would actually happen,
Mhm.
which I'm very fortunate for. I'm always fortunate to step into those roles, but also those worlds that are created by those incredibly masterful playwrights, Lynn Nottage, Martina Mayock, and Ozzie Davis. Um, so yeah, there are many factors that are at play when choosing, or you know, however it happens. I can't believe it has. It's always a lot for me to be like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm here. Pinch me.
We're here, for a role like this. How much knowledge did you have about the original production? Not everybody knows everything, and I wasn't aware of it because obviously it's that old from the original. And I know that the Davis family, obviously Ozzie Davis, Ruby D, were
Yeah.
involved and they were around for this, and not they obviously know, there's not probably not enough people out there to remember the original run, but what do you remember or what did you hear of that performance? Did any of that, whatever you may have heard, give you an insight as to how to play the role outside of what the script called for?
Ooh. First of all, really good question. There's a lot of questions in there, Wilson. Number one, the I didn't know about Purlie Victorious. I didn't know about the original play. It seemed like it was something that has been sort of like hidden from the theater canon. I mean, and pardon me, those who know, and I'm like, yes to knowing. But a lot of people were very familiar with the musical Purlie that Melba Moore um, starred in and won the Tony for. So there was a lot of confusion when people came to see the show because they thought they were going to come and see the musical and didn't know that we were actually doing the original play. But to actually resurrect this play is so, it's so important because it is an American classic. And it feels like it feels like right now is like the perfect time for people to know this play, to know of this play. The fact that it's on great performances now with PBS, it has more. There's more access to the world. There's more access to people, and the incredible Leslie Odom Jr. He had this program with students, and they would give out plays to the students whenever they came and saw the show, which I just thought like this is how we make this an American classic. You know, this is how we inform the people of what it is. But wait, you asked another question. I totally forgot about it. I forgot about
in
it.
terms of the insights to play the character,
The
like,
insights. Yeah, well, building and crafting for the stage, for storytelling, it's like how do I gather as much information as possible and try to, I mean, try to curate, but like not really curate. Like I feel like every single woman that I have the honor of playing, every single Black woman that I have the honor of playing is a lot about the fact that we are not seen and heard. And how do I honor a human being in the time that we are given, which is usually like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, right? So it's more about like mapping out that script and taking the information that Ozzy has given me, Dothan, Alabama, loves church, works in the home, works with her hands and on her feet. And it makes me think of the women that I come from. And now I'm like, okay, so it's attached to spirit. And of course, it's a comedy. So now that's just trusting the writing, trusting Ozzy's writing, right? And like riding that wave. And then with Kenny's direction, he had like a meticulous direction of writing that wave, of the fine line between comedy and actual reality, and the nuances of what happened then and what's still happening now. And it sort of transcends time in those moments. But crafting, building, it's like it's a forever work. It doesn't stop. There's no stopping at a certain time. Like there's no, and it takes its course of like you just got to keep on working on it. So it's just about gathering as much narratives and information and just building.
When I watched the play, and you were one of the obviously many highlights, and you drew out a lot of laughs, from the different productions that you've done. Is this the one where you've displayed your most comedic form? Like, is this, people were asking me, like, is this girl a comedian? It's like because they were like, oh, they can buy it. Do you see yourself having funny bones, or is it all in the writing?
I do think that it's a lot of the writing. I mean, I think what was really special was that I was able to lean into the funny, in ways that I haven't before. Maybe in like 10-minute play festivals here and there, but I think leaning into the funny was sort of a revelatory experience for my instrument. But yeah, I mean, I look forward to doing more comedy in the future. Um, but I also think there were just so many different layers to Lutiebell, and you know, whether that be the funny or the the realness of what love means, or you know, taking a chance on life. Um, but that moment, that specific moment of like the fish out of water moment of her um, portraying Cousin B in an outfit that she's uncomfortable in, and first time she's wearing heels, and you know, all of those things while also trying to pretend. Um, yeah, it was that was a good time. Every night, and every night was so different. Every night was so different.
You know, you're
Um,
working with Leslie, you know, and obviously we already know his work, but this cast has an ensemble, you know, that, you know, some are new faces, some are familiar faces. What was that, you know, obviously table read and rehearsal process like before things got started?
oh man, you know, so we did like a workshop prior to um going into rehearsals, just to kind of, and I love the way Kenny works. This is my first time working with Kenny Leon, and um I'll tell you a story about him a little bit later in regards to how he ran the room as well. But um rehearsals with Leslie and the cast, I mean, first of all, I have been waiting to work with Heather Alicia Sims for a really long time, and waiting to work with Bill Eugene Jones because I had just been watching their work for so long and have been so in awe. And when you have those two powerhouses on top of Vanessa Bell Calloway, who every little black girl, you know, growing up in America, you know Vanessa Bell Calloway's face. She's like a staple.
BBC, we know her.
Yeah, we know her. So, you know, getting to experience what it was like to just getting to experience her in front of me, and I'm like, oh my god, I just know the space. It feels like my family. Um, and then you know, I've been watching J.O. Sanders' work for a long time, and I just saw him in Primary Trust, and that blew my mind. He blew my mind. Noah Robbins, Noah Pizik, Bill Timoni, and the incredible Leslie Odom Jr. I mean, how spectacular. He was literally our leading man and also our lead producer, and just an overall leader in the room. And was so grateful to see him navigate so much. And it's like he was holding so much, but it was, he did it so gracefully. He like did it with so much grace, and um, just really made everything seem possible. You know, um,
Then there's
it
Ken.
was. And then there's Kenny.
Then there's Kenny. You know,
Yeah,
he's always working. He just had
always.
home open up. You know, I don't know
Yes.
any other director that you know. I can't recall a year where he didn't have anything on Broadway or off Broadway. But in working with him, and you've done other projects obviously previously, is there anything you got from his direction that helps you out skill set wise as an actress moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, what was beautiful, I would always ask Kenny for notes all the time. You know, and he kind of has like a very like hands-off kind of approach um to the artist working. Um but I would constantly ask him for notes. But that one thing I really learned was like when we opened up the rehearsal room toward the last week and a half of our rehearsal process before we went into tech. And, you know, this play can be very tricky. And I think that like it could lean into the possibilities of, you know, if you just read the play, you might think a million things over, right? But I think that this, for this particular play, Kenny was the perfect director for it. He understood all of the levels of not only the absurdity but the realisms. And when he opened up the rehearsal room the last week and a half, he literally had like 20 to 40 people come every single run. And that really informed us of how the play, that push and that pull of the play. And he opened up the room. So our first run through ever, there was about 25, 30 people in the room. And, you know, some people we know, some people we don't know. But I thought it was so interesting and necessary to perform in front of people without all the elements, right? Without sound, without lighting, without costumes. Before all of those things come in, to really kind of hone in what the storytelling is. And I found that to be like an eye-opening experience, because we already had what, 8 runs before tech, and then we know that tech belongs to the creative team. You know, tech belongs to sound, lighting, costumes, set. Like, it belongs to those elements. So it was just great to get those runs out, but also start understanding the storytelling of it all in a way deeper way before we even. So when we got to our first preview, we were we already understood the play. Every single person in the room understood the play, you know?
You know, like I said before, it doesn't go without saying, you know, 3-time nominee in a row, you know, so you're getting good work. People are looking at you. You're an inspiration. What goes into saying yes into the projects you take? You know, whether it be a film, whether it be a series. I Am Virgo on Prime Video. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
You know, so, you know, you're getting work. Obviously, that, you know, that's a testimony to you, your team. You know, they're finding good projects, timing, and just good productions. But, you know, what says yes to whatever you want to say, you know, do next?
Oh, you know, I mean, traditionally, I feel like in this little theater career that I've had, and also, you know, the film career that is budding, it feels like what's important is that there is a visibility on the humanity of Black people, and there is a visibility of revolution. And, you know, the writers that I've had the opportunity to work with, I mean, the incomparable Lynn Nottage, you know, 2-time Pulitzer Prize winning Lynn Nottage. You know, Clyde was incredibly revolutionary to me. It was, you know, I had the honor of playing Letitia, and she was a woman who, you know, is re-entering society after being incarcerated. And to me, it was a visibility on, you know, the prison industrial complex. It was a visibility on like how like this needs to be, like, we need to eradicate the prison industrial complex. Like how rehabbing into society, taking care of a sick child. The world is failing her, yet she doesn't want to fail. You know, capitalism at its finest, and then that goes into Martina Mayok's Cost of Living, which is to me like a complete work on how capitalism is separates people, and the needs of what we all need is just to be human. We need each other, right? We actually need each other, and we're defined by this thing that separates us, yet the very need of us is not defined by that thing. And to Purlie, I mean, like, I don't know, choosing work feels like it's just so beyond it, but it, you know, even I'm a Virgo feels so, like, the message of I'm a Virgo feels so radical and revolutionary. It's probably one of the most like radical projects I've ever been a part of, in a good way, not in the pejorative sense, you know. That it was exposing a system that continuously is trying to pull us down, and the things that we might feel like oh my God, it's so unfair. It's like exposing the unfairness of the reasons why certain systems are in place. Um, but choosing work, I'm venturing into something a little bit different now where it is more leaning into fun. And I guess that's kind of revelatory in itself. Um, but you'll see like a different side of me, I guess, in the play that I'm going to be doing soon called Table 17 by Douglas Lyons. It's definitely a new take on. It's a three-hander, but it's definitely a new character. I don't think I've done anything like this before.
We'll be looking forward to seeing that down the road. But right now, it's all about Purlie. It's all about wins or
All
none. You
about
get the
prayer.
win. Win or lose, you're already a winner. So it doesn't matter. So I just
Thank
want to
you.
say once again, congrats on all you've done so far. All that you continue to do. We're always here to support. I will talk to you. I will see you, and good work begets. I always say, hey, you working gives me work.
Oh, Wilson, thank you so much. But also thank you so much again for always covering me, and it's just so greatly appreciated. I'm incredibly grateful for you.
All right.